This is video 3, solving one-step equations, and it covers two sections in your textbook. Section 1.2 is solving one-step equations by addition or subtraction. Section 1.3, we're going to solve one-step equations by multiplying or dividing. It'll be up to you, the student, to look at an equation and make the right decision about what to do. Now, you need a piece of loose leaf paper with you while we work through these to write down each exercise, and have your textbook open to page 17 nearby. Notice that page 17 is where section 1.2 begins. You can look over that page and note the vocabulary at the top and read through that example. It's okay to pause this video right now if you want to do that at this time. After that, I'm going to have you see the check it out exercises down at the bottom. These are practice problems to make sure you understand how to solve equations correctly. And I'm going to work through these with you right now. Equation 1a down at the bottom of the page, n minus 3.2, and I'm going to stop right there. Look at the side where the variable is and ask yourself what's happening to the variable in this equation. Well, 3.2 is being subtracted from the variable. We want to get the variable by itself. So I'm going to do the inverse operation. The inverse of subtraction is addition. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to both sides of the equation. Do exactly the same thing on both sides. So I'm going to add 3.2 to both sides of the equation. You're probably working without a calculator at home, and that's okay. I want you to focus on what decision to make and how to show your work. When you add 3.2 to both sides, that adds up to 0 on the left. Well, n plus 0 is just n. Now the variable is standing isolated by itself on the left with a coefficient of positive 1, and that's what we want. The other side of the equation is what you get when you add 5.6 and 3.2. 5.6 plus 3.2 adds up to 8.8. Equation 1b, the variable is on the right side of the equals instead of the left. So ignore this part for the time being. Ignore this negative 6. And concentrate on what's going on over here with the variable. Another minus 6. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Negative 6 plus positive 6 is 0 over here, equals k. It's 0 over here too. K plus 0 is just 0. So the solution to this equation is k is equal to 0. 1c, very similar. We have to look on the right to see the variable m. M minus 9. The inverse of subtracting 9 would be to add 9 on both sides of the equation. Make sure you have these three examples written down and worked through on your paper, which you will bring to class tomorrow. All right, compare these three equations to the one on the other page, the ones on the other page. On the other page, everything was a variable minus a number. Over here, we have variable plus a number, variable plus a number, number plus a variable, same thing. To get d by itself here, if it's d plus 1/2, I'm going to subtract 1/2 from both sides. Writing down what I just wrote here in blue, negative 1/2, negative 1/2, shows anyone, including your teacher, who's looking at your equation, what you did to solve it. 1 minus 1/2 is just 1/2, and that's the solution to the equation. Just think about this. If d is equal to 1/2, I can replace d with 1/2. 1/2 plus another 1/2 is equal to 1. Think about what decision you would make here in equation 2b. Negative 5 equals k plus 5. you said subtract 5 from both sides, you're correct. Now, when you put a negative 5 minus another 5 together, you get negative 10. Whether you look at it as adding a negative 5 or subtracting a positive 5, those mean exactly the same thing. That leaves you with negative 10 on the left, equals in the middle, and k on the right, because negative 5 plus 5 adds up to 0. Look at 2c, and think about what you would do here to solve this. 6 plus t equals 14. Since it's 6 plus over here with the variable, and the 6 is positive, take away that 6. If you take it away on the left, you have to take it away on the right too. That leaves you with just t on the left. 14 minus 6 is 8. Make sure your t doesn't look like a plus sign. It can be hard to read if you do that. We just looked at solving a variables by, when you have subtraction in the equation, you do the inverse, which is to add. If you have addition in the equation, the inverse would be to subtract. And it's important that you practice showing your steps the right way. This line right here shows what the student is bringing into the equation. What decision did you make? I subtracted 1/2. I subtracted 5. I subtracted 6. The last step should be a complete equation with your variable on one side and the number that the variable is equal to on the other. We're going to look at one more kind of equation before we stop for the day. I've got negative 2.3 plus m equals 7. Think carefully about this. Negative 2.3 is being added to m. There's two different ways you can look at it. I think this is the easiest. I want this to add up to 0, so I'm just going to say plus 2.3. If I do that on the left, I'm going to do it on the right. See how these two right here add up to 0? That means I have 0 plus m, which is just the same as m. On the other side, 7 plus 2.3 is 9.3. Look at 3b, compare it to 3a, and think about what you think I should do. Well, if I want z by itself, then there's a negative 3/4 over here with it. The inverse would just be to add 3/4. If these two add up to 0, you're doing the right thing. So whatever I do on the left, I have to do on the right. Of course, it won't add up to 0 over here. Sometimes it does, most of the time it doesn't. Now, 5/4 plus 3/4 adds up to 8/4, which just reduces to the integer or whole number 2. Let's do 3c for the last one we're going to do in this video. I've got negative 11 plus x. I want x by itself. The inverse of negative 11 is to add positive 11. If I add on the left, I have to add on the right. 33 plus 11 is 44. So you should be looking through sections 1, 2, and 1, 3 in your book, and we'll continue with 1, 3 in class, practicing one-step equations, which you have to understand very well before we start solving two-step equations. When you come to class tomorrow, I'm going to have some problems up for you to practice from section 1.2, and I'm going to help you get started here. Write these 3 equations down on your paper and be sure you bring it to class. This means p divided by 5 equals 10. The inverse of dividing by 5 is to multiply by 5. Remember that multiplying by 5 over here just cancels these 5s, leaving b by itself with a coefficient of 1, which is what you want. The other side of the equation will tell you what to do if you make the right decision. 10 times 5 is 50. If your variable's on the right, same thing. Make your eyes go to where the variable is first. Y divided by 3, we want to do the inverse. Multiply by 3. I'm not going to finish this one. You can bring it to class tomorrow and finish it when you have a calculator. And this last equation over here, c divided by 8, means I'm going to multiply by 8. Now write that down so when you bring it to class tomorrow, you can get the calculator and immediately finish those two problems as soon as you log into class.